So we are a possible 30-ish minutes out from the cell reveal coming for April Fools, so I thought I'd make a quick video just talking about a recent achievement, which is beating the Festival of Battles. I know a lot of you know, if you're returning to this channel, that I made a video talking about how Festival of Battles, I'll consider it when ranking characters, but if you're a new character and you stack, you're probably good in the Festival of Battles. It just is what it is. It's an event made for stacking. Does it mean that every single character that stacks will be the best in it? No. You know, there will be some delineation there, but by and large, if you stack, you're probably considered. So yeah, I got it done. Defeat Super Vegito in Phase 50 of the challenge event, Challenge the Limits, Festival of Battles. I now have it on my profile here because might as well use some flair for a while, right? Rocking the 2 million power level. And I wanted to go through some tips that I saw that I thought were pretty good and worth sharing. I considered these a bit when doing my clear, just to, you know, I'm just going to be honest. I wasn't really like rushing to defeat the Festival of Battles. I'm not one of those people who's like, it's the only thing that matters in the game now. It's just an event that takes way too long to feel useful for my purposes. And as far as fun goes, it can be okay to revisit every few days just to, you know, try to run, but it's not something that's keeping me on the game. I just had a burst of inspiration where I was like, okay, I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm going to clear Festival of Battles, and that way I can just say I did it. So there you go. If you're wondering if I no-itemed it, I did not. I used the Bulma for extra attack to close out the final phase against Vegito with my own Vegito. Since I do not have him rainbowed or anything, I thought the stats could be useful. That said, it kind of just died to the Gogeta's active, the Fizz LR 7th anniversary Gogeta's active on the next turn, and I don't think I really needed the damage for that, but you know, just, you know, all is fair. I did use items. But let's get over to what I was looking at when I was like checking up on if people have mathed out the event, and I want to give my weigh in on my own time going through the event just to help out any new players, any returning players who might be getting brick-walled by this event. I'll show you my team first. Actually, let's show you my team right now. So my team's going to be called SBR because I typically use this slot for anything that needs like a boost or anything that is actually in the Super Battle Road. So this is my team. It's under SBR. I used Gogeta as the lead, and then basically the characters you'd expect. Yeah. All right. Let's get over to the guide portion. So if you've been struggling with the Festival of Battles, I would highly recommend going on to the Dokkan Battle Reddit and checking out Last-Medium's guide here, talking about their way through the event. But I'm going to specifically highlight a few of the things I took from this rather than the whole guide. I'll link those down below so that you can have access to them in the description. And here's another by MustererBoys, who also did a very comprehensive guide looking into specifically the math of the event. Remember, when I said that this event was coming out, I said they are going to math this event. And if you're like, well, is this really something that works? I would say yeah. If you scroll all the way down here to the actual TLDR here, this is the guideline I used just to have in my head off top. I said, whenever we got to the, I'll switch back here actually. So Last-Medium says, when the battle starts to be around 6 rounds, so 2 turns, switch Tech Goku to Tech Vegeta, and stack defense until 2.5 or 3 million. If you come over here, it says that Vegito wants about 16 stacks as Vegeta to reach about 2.6 to 2.7 million. That lets him double-digit tank Vegito as when on his active turn. So that's numbers. That's just numbers. If you're like, I can't get through this, I can't get through this, I can't get through this, it's just numbers, you know? So keep in your mind, about 2.6 million. I think on my winning run, I had him about 2.8 million, okay? So, and that was just because some turns, hey, you're going to need Vegeta to tank something, and, you know, you don't want to, you know, risk a 7th anniversary fusion or something. You just want to pop them in there, get some stacks, and be doing damage with your fused 7th anniversary units. Vegeta wants about 23 to 25 to reach about 2.5 and go into the Vegeta and tank Vegito. Hey, right here. AGL Vegeta will only stack defense the entire game. I will say that this wasn't completely necessary. Like I said, this was the sweet spot. After that, I let him go as Vegeta. I was just pounding away. 7th Annie duos simply want to super as much as possible. This means that the 7th Annie units, if you have them, can simply go in slot 1 permanently. They can just sit there the entire time and soak up damage. That's exactly what I did. Super Saiyan 4 Goku can ape as soon as turn 5. That is on the Int Trunks phase, by the way. Int Trunks phase is when you will make Super Saiyan 3 Goku go into Super Saiyan 4 Goku every single time, and so long as you get the ape to super attack on every single attack, which is 3 attacks, and he gets double ki from orbs, so it should be pretty easy, you will kill Int Trunks and go into Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Namek Super Saiyan Goku wants about 24 stacks to tank normals up until fusions. This is the hardest one, is getting Goku to get his attacks in, because you'll mostly be killing with the Tech Vegeta or Tech Goku in slot 2, but it is nice to get him stacks once you get to around the 6 charge count. Now, am I saying that this is the easiest thing in the world and you will get it no matter what? No, I'm not. You'll still have plenty of times where you lose. You'll still have plenty of times where you fumble. Getting used to the charge count, because you're not going to know every time, like, okay, I can use this many charges and kill him on the 3rd attack, or I can risk not doing too much damage here and then kill him on the 3rd attack as like my slot 3 unit. You're gonna have to get through that, right? But these are great reference points, and the MustererBoys actually puts in a bunch of characters you can replace, right? And goes into detail about the math of the event. I think, oh yeah, here's the actual replace unit. So for them, they actually did use the Goku and Frieza tag, right? They said, my personal 6 unit, Goku's combination of guard, multiplicative defense, DR, etc. Sounds pretty good. Chose this guy over Namek Goku simply so I wouldn't have to keep track of as many stackers. There you go. We had full final form Frieza, of which they said you need to run double Vegeta leads, which, by the way, I think Vegito is the single most important if you just want to get the clear, because he just kills the other Vegito. If you get those attacks lined up right, he just kills the other Vegito. I'm going to switch over to the actual event itself just so you can get some more informative like visual aid. So here's some breakpoints that I got to in this game that just kind of let me keep track. Of course, these are all just time. This is the reason that this event kind of is eye roll to me, is because now that you have the numbers, and these numbers are pretty definitive, I could do this event every single time, and I could always get to, you know, these last bit, right? These are definitive numbers I'm talking about. These numbers do not change. Once you have these numbers in your head, you do not need to change anything, okay? That's why I'm kind of like, on this event, and I assumed it would get mathed eventually, but just to elaborate more, if you're someone who is new or struggling to clear this event, you're going to go through these until you reach this guy. You can always get Super Saiyan 4 Goku out on this turn. It doesn't matter if he's 7th slot, it doesn't matter if he's on your 2nd rotation, you just float him. If he's on your 1st rotation, you just keep him there. It's okay, you can float. I actually think I did this. I had to float one of the Gokus off at the start of the fight and keep him on so that I could get the 5th slot, or 5th turn. Just use Super Saiyan 4 Goku here. It works every single time. You're going. Nothing really of note. Fusion Zamasu is when the 6 turn charges take effect, and you are able to actually get 2 rotations. At that point, you want to start really hamstringing your damage. You want to get a great an 18 key with Tech Goku. You want to get a 12 key with the 7-year fusions, and your 3rd unit can do whatever they want. And then the turn will pass, and you'll blast. You'll go full key, full everything. The entire time, just making sure you're kind of keeping track of your orbs. One of the big skills people are really missing if you're kind of struggling with these is that, remember, none of this damage matters. You will not lose to this damage. Right? You will not lose to this damage in this event. You're going to lose to Arges, and you're going to lose to not getting enough attacks in to get here. So you continue again, continuing. Finally, you get to Kid Buu. You're going to need to be a little careful not to fall into the trap of hitting him with a bunch of physical attack supers, right? If you physical attack super him, he will counter it, and it can make your damage wonky, but this shouldn't be a problem because the 7-year fusions deal like combined damage. You keep going down, you keep going down. You finally get to the first real pit stop, which is you need to hit this guy with unarmed supers, which is not always easiest, depending on your team. If you use the team I talked about, it should be fine, even if you go 18 key on everyone, because your damage will stack up so much that their additionals will kill him. This is the first real boss that can kill you. This is where, again, I think the fight falls apart conceptually, because there is no single reason. There is no single reason where you shouldn't check if he's supering every single turn. That means use Vegito, use the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, or Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, check if he's supering, and then bait the super. Every single time. It's boring, it makes us take forever, but this is one of the reasons that this event is a joke, is because you should do this every single time. Every single character here, you should just be checking their super. Again, it's boring, but if you're just trying to get your first completion, you should do it every single time. You'd rather waste 2 minutes than waste 4 hours because you get supered in slot 3 by this guy, right? Okay. At this point, the only other damage check starts to mount here, I'd say. This is a very important one to get Vegeta in front of, or the gods. And this guy will only, this Beast Gohan will only ever super in the third slot of the second turn, which means if you've been stacking your Vegeta, you just put him here for 1 turn. He'll come back in a few turns. This Boo is a joke phase. Again, you just check his super and you'll be fine. And here is the actual fight. So we have 50, 49, 48, 47, 46. 46 is when this fight actually starts, and this is why it's dog shit. And it's, by the way, it's okay to say this is the hardest fight in the game, and this is the fight that matters, but this is why this fight kind of sucks. Is because now you're about 2 hours in, and you're finally getting to play. And not only are you getting to play, but let's be honest, you're just kind of scouter fishing. So again, you're just going to be scouter fishing, making sure that either the gods or the fusion or the Gogeta is in front of the super. And I would say around here is when you want to actually use them. You've gotten enough stacks that they will blow these guys away alongside your Vegito unit. But yeah, it's about here-ish that if you're not a whale with rainbowed characters, you want to use the fusions. You could use the gods here and use Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta here, or you know, you can use both here and then both here. But yeah, you want to just get them out, and that's where it gets hard. So with all of this in mind, this is another cornerstone where if you do not get the good RNG of supers landing on Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, this is where you want to consider using an attack boost item, because without his bonus damage from countering supers, this phase is really tough to get through. 1.6 billion 1.6 billion HP in total or something like that. This is really hard to get through in 9 phases. Remember, it only becomes 12 charges here, or not phases, but charges. It only becomes 12 charges here, so you need to get through them somehow. I would say that in a lot of cases, if you're not rainbowing units, if you don't have Kid Goku, if you don't have you know, just a crazy box, it's really hard to Vegito here and still beat both of these phases. 1 Vegito for Gogeta, 1 Vegito for Super Vegito, and the fight's over. But if I ever get here and I'm thinking, damn, I have to Vegito, I'm basically counting this as a loss in my experience. But yeah, that's the Festival of Battles in a nutshell. Hope this quick overview was useful. Again, check the description if you need a more textual guide to help you out. I will be linking both of these. I think the thing that is useful about these is just having flat numbers that you can keep in your head rather than having to pay attention to this. Because the thing that makes this event so ass is you have to pay attention to this unless you know the breakpoints. Once you know the number breakpoints, you literally don't have to put your brain on for any of this until you're right here. Right? And then this is the actual fight. All of this does not matter. There's no skill, there's no charges, charge managing, there's no nothing. Once you do this part enough, you're just switching to Vegeta, stacking, switching to Goku, stacking, floating off, eventually stacking, and then finally you get to play the game when you're here. It gets really fast, but so long as you know the breakpoints, like I said. With all being said, like if you like the video, subscribe to the club. We all gonna make it, and peace.